Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Or if you're new, if this is your first time here, welcome to Larry's House of Hockey. So I did a video earlier talking about the Arizona Coyotes and their issues. You know, the Scottsdale mayor coming out saying he's not too crazy about the idea of this arena potentially being where it's at. And I talked more about how the NHL was making a contingency plan and had two different schedules for if they remained in Arizona or if they moved elsewhere, which looks like would be Salt Lake City. Well, I then find out just a couple hours after that video, not only does it look like this contingency plan definitely has some legs to it, but it's looking like it's entirely possible that the Arizona Coyotes might not make it to the auction date, because it's honestly looking like they may move. And it's interesting because, you know, a lot of this is, you know, we're hearing, you know, different parts from like Frank Saravelli and Freach, which I'm blanking his name right now. Freaking Friedman. I can't remember his first name. Brain fart. But it's looking like they might actually be moving. Because, yeah, according to Frank Saravelli here from Daily, and, you know, it's you know, he said in this tweet, or this X post, I still call it Twitter, but he says sources tell at Daily Faceoff that NHL, Arizona Coyotes, and Smith Entertainment Group have made significant progress on the framework of an agreement to relocate the Coyotes to Salt Lake City, Utah. Now, and it said too, not done, many layers and lawyers, much work to do. So this is kind of what we've been thinking was going to happen for the longest time. It has not worked in Arizona. They have never made money. In any season that they've been in the desert, they've never made money. And the interesting thing is, some people have not, and I didn't even think about this in the last video that I did. I literally, it didn't even cross my mind that it's entirely possible that Alex Meruelo sells the Coyotes to Ryan Smith and his Smith Entertainment Group. They move to Salt Lake City, where, by the way, they would not be known as the Coyotes. But then what could possibly happen is then Meruelo still goes forward with the land auction, tries to still get that land to build an arena district and everything, to eventually get a team to come back there. Now, I don't necessarily, because there's no way that a thing like this, a project like they're talking about, is going to be the kind of thing that's going to be done in 3 years. And the NHL is not crazy about the idea that even if the Coyotes were to get this land, it's going to be at least 3 years before that land is ready to have an arena on it. We're talking 2027, the 27-28 season. That's 3 more years. The NHL, I don't think, wants to be in Mullet Arena for 3 more years. Now, of course, there have been stuff that has come out about what it's like playing in Mullet Arena. Players don't like it. NHL players do not like it. It is a college rink. They're not crazy about it. And the fact that they're not filling it with Coyote fans. It's insane. But the idea of potentially, Alex Meruelo saying, okay, I will sell the team to the Smith Entertainment Group. They'll move to Salt Lake City. But you promise me, NHL, that I will get an expansion team to come back here. Now, again, it's been the same issue with this franchise since the day they left Winnipeg. Where are they playing? They need a building. They've been there since 1997. They have never had a steady building to play in. Ever. And here we are, 2024. We're still having that same debate. They need a building to play in. Where are you going to play? And it honestly seems like it's not working. The NHL is hell-bent on making it work in Arizona. I don't know. I look at this whole situation, especially with the Coyotes, and I wonder, as bad as the Canadian dollar was and the Canadian economy was back in the mid to late 90s, what difference would it have made if they'd have just kept them in Winnipeg? Would it have really been any different? Matter of fact, I think they could have still made it work in Winnipeg, even with the crappy Canadian dollar at the time. Because look what's happened since they've moved to Arizona. They've done nothing but lose money. They've never had a steady place to play. Ownership has been just all over the place. They've never had a steady owner. It's crazy, which is why the NHL, I think, they think that it could work if they have steady ownership, which Meruelo's got deep pockets. He does. He's a billionaire. He could make it work, but the whole, again, you need a building to play in and not a 4,000-seat college rink. What I don't like the idea of, though, is the NHL then saying, if Meruelo were to get this land, if he goes, if total rumor, innuendo, conjecture here, if he were to sell to Salt Lake City, the Coyotes go to Salt Lake City. He gets, he goes and he gets this land. Now, and here's the other crazy thing. If he did do that and he sold the Coyotes and he got this land, he wouldn't have to worry about, building it up quick. He could take his time. He could do the whole thing, which could potentially take, when you're looking at everything that would have to be done on that parcel of land, 5 years minimum, if not longer. I'm one, I wouldn't give, the whole idea of, Meruelo telling the NHL, I'll sell the team as long as you guarantee that I'm getting team number 33 or 34. I don't like that idea. They should not get a team back immediately. They need to go through some growing pains. Minnesota left in 1993. We didn't get a team back for 8 years. And even Commissioner Bettman said the same thing. Said Minnesota never should have lost their team. Which is why I've always said, if he would have come in just a year earlier, Norm Green would never have been able to move the North Stars. But, that is what it is. But they shouldn't get a team right away. To me, they should not get an expansion team right away. You have to have a place to play. And I also heard the idea floated around that, oh, how about you go and you move the team to, move the team to Salt Lake City until the arena's done, then move them back. No. Because that has been done before with some teams. That has been done before. I don't like that idea. I didn't like that idea in basketball. I don't like that idea here. I honestly think the best thing to do, now this is just my opinion, the best thing to do is for Meruelo sell the team, because apparently the Smith Entertainment Group is willing to give him upwards of $1 billion. Yes, $1 billion with a B. $1 billion for this team. That's more than any. And the fact though that this would almost be a guaranteed approval by the Board of Governors, because the whole idea floating around, could Quebec come forward? I don't think the Board of Governors would allow it, because you would then be you'd have to move them to the Eastern Conference. And I don't think anybody's wanting to necessarily do that, even though Quebec, they have a ready-made arena. Salt Lake City has said, though, that they're ready to go, even though they would probably be playing in the same arena as the Utah Jazz, which has horrible sight lines because it's not a hockey arena, it's a basketball arena. But it'd be something similar to how the New York Islanders were in Barclays. They eventually got a new building, and they moved in there, and there they go. They're in Belmont. So this is something that could be done for a couple of years. And Salt Lake City has already gotten approval. They've already gotten approval to build a new arena for a hockey team. They also got approval for money to potentially to build a baseball stadium for a Major League Baseball team, to try and entice Major League Baseball to come to Utah. They're going balls to the wall here. It's I like the fact that Salt Lake City, Utah, they're passionate about this. They want this. They want to be able. They already have the Utah Jazz. That's I believe the only major sport they have, because they don't have a baseball team, they don't have a football team, they don't have a hockey team. All they have is the Utah Jazz. So they're trying to entice, not only to bring an NHL team there, which they might be getting the Arizona Coyotes, but they're also trying to entice Major League Baseball to come in. And they've already approved funding for it. That's the other neat thing. They've already approved funding for it. And Ryan Smith has already come out and said they'll play in with the Utah Jazz, because apparently what they want is they want a dual thing. Even the new arena, they want it to be a dual building, but they would want it to be able to not only house the Utah Jazz, but the Utah hockey team with good sight lines and everything. And apparently he's already got plans, he's already got ideas of how it would look and how he would set it up, where the sight lines would be fantastic for hockey. And it's ballsy, but he's got a plan. He has a plan. He wants to move forward with this plan. And this plan is way better than anything the Arizona Coyotes have had for years. So I honestly think this would be probably the best move. Sell the Coyotes to Ryan Smith and his group. They move to Salt Lake City. They would be all ready to go in Salt Lake City for next season, which means then you're going to force me to get a Fanatics jersey. That would force me to get a Fanatics jersey of the new Utah team. Because I'm still not, I'm still not sure about Fanatics, even though, they come out and say, they're going to make 3 levels of jerseys, including the made in Canada retail ones, which are outrageously expensive. But I'm like, really? You're going to make me have to buy a new team? I'm like, but it might happen that way. But I don't think that the Coyotes should get an expansion team right away, because what Maruella was talking about is keeping the trademark, keeping the name and everything, where if they do get a team back in Arizona, they're still called the Arizona Coyotes. Which makes sense, kind of like the Cleveland Browns were, and, so on and so forth. But I don't think they should get one right away. Because how would it feel? I mean, how would a lot of fans think that, okay, teams 33 and 34, we're going back to Phoenix, and we're going back to Atlanta? Now, again, I understand Atlanta, same type of thing, same type of issue. Ownership was crap and whatever, and people think, it could work there now. Maybe. But again, Atlanta's had 2 cracks at this. Arizona would have a second crack at this. And I'm sorry, again, why, all because they're big markets, which I get. But why would we give a second chance to Arizona? Because what have they done to deserve it? What would they do? What would they have done to deserve to get an expansion team later on down the road in the next 7 to 10 years? I mean, what have they done in 30 years to deserve to get another crack at this if they lose the Coyotes now? I don't think they've done anything to deserve it. What has Atlanta done to deserve getting a third bite at the apple? And it brings me back. What about Quebec? They lost their team in 1995 because the Canadian dollar was in the toilet and the salaries were going up, and they were eventually not going to be able to make it work. You have a ready-made building in Quebec City. Where's the love for Quebec? Where's the love for Quebec? I mean, I think a lot of fans would probably be like, why? So okay, you're going to give us one team in the East, one team in the West. Why's that team got to be Atlanta? Why couldn't it be Quebec? They already have a building all ready to go. I don't know. I wonder this stuff, and it just, it's hard to get back into the NHL. I mean, the fans of Quebec have wanted to be back in the NHL for a long time, and the NHL just they won't seem to do it. And they're hell-bent on the big markets. But honestly, Arizona should not get a second crack at this for a long time. A long time. It just, I don't know. But I mean, this was an interesting thing that I thought of, and I thought this would be a good little follow-up on the video that I did before, because I didn't even hear about this part, about the fact that they're apparently setting up a framework to sell the Coyotes to Salt Lake City. And I thought that's an interesting idea. Sell the Coyotes, then you can still move forward with the land auction, see if you can get it, and then develop it. in hopes of potentially getting another NHL franchise years down the road. Because honestly, that would make more sense to do that than try to go through this land auction where you may or may not win it, and then you're playing in mullet for at least another 3 years, if not longer. I don't know. I'd love to know what you guys think. Would it make more sense for Maruello to sell the Coyotes to Salt Lake City and then go through with the land auction and then take whatever time he needs to build that piece of land in the desert up in hopes of drawing another team? Or do you think the Coyotes should just ride it out? Ride it out, play in mullet for another 3 to 4 years, and just let it ride. Let me know what you guys think of that. Think in the comments section. And yeah, this was interesting. And of course, I hear about this a couple hours after, me doing the video initially talking about the Coyotes. But this is looking like this actually is the first tangible potential evidence that they might finally be heading out the door. Do they or don't they? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Please like this video. It would be greatly appreciated. Also, please subscribe to the channel. That would be greatly appreciated also. And light up the comment section. The comments section, kind of lets the algorithm know that people are interested. And this is always, the Coyotes have always been such a topic of conversation and drama. But this to me looks like this is the closest it's ever come to these guys finally being relocated. And Salt Lake City, Ryan Smith and his group have already put a bunch of names out there for the people of Salt Lake City to potentially pick from, because they moved to Salt Lake City. They're not going to be called the Coyotes. They're going to be called a completely different team name. That'll be interesting to find out, too, what some of those names are. But what do you guys think? Coyotes stay? Ride it out and mullet for the next 3 to 4 years? Or sell them to Salt Lake City, relocate them, then move forward with the land auction? And if you win that, take whatever time you need to build that up and do it right. Let me know what you guys think. Coyotes, man, it's always interesting when talking about them. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys later.